talk about restorative justice. What is that? Restorative justice is how we repair our friendships when something goes wrong. Restorative justice follows 3 ideas: compassion, understanding, and accountability. Compassion is caring for others. Understanding is trying to learn where the other person is coming from, what went wrong, what we should do next time, and why someone is upset. Accountability is owning up to our own actions or taking responsibility for our actions. Accountability also means that we are encouraging each other to do what is right. Can you show an example of these 3 ideas? Show your teacher what this means to you. Next, we will show you how you can use these 3 ideas to repair our friendships through different examples. Stay tuned! Our first scenario will involve the conflict between Alex and Kendall, 2 students in the same class together. Pay attention to how they both see the same conflict. This is called a perspective. Alex was really looking forward to school lunch today. Alex's dad lost his job, so it's been hard to get enough money for food. Lunch at school is the only meal Alex can always get. But when Alex sat down to eat, their friend Kendall came up to them and said, "I want to play! Throw your lunch away so we can go play together." Alex did not know how to respond. Then, Kendall grabbed Alex's lunch and held it over the trash can. Kendall said, "Can I throw it away so we can go play now? Besides, you can eat when you get home." Alex wanted to say something, but did not want to accept their friend Kendall. So, Alex said, "Fine." And Alex and Kendall went to the playground. After lunchtime in math class, Alex had a hard time listening to the teacher. All they could think about was how hungry they were. They did not complete their math worksheet, so the teacher made Alex move their clip down. Alex felt angry and disappointed in themselves because they are usually very good at math. Kendall was very excited to play with their friend Alex during the lunch period today, so they skipped lunch, then went to see if Alex was ready to play too. Sadly, Alex was just sitting and eating their lunch. "I want to play! Throw your lunch away so we can go play together," Kendall said. They did not think about what Alex wanted or needed. Alex said nothing, so Kendall took Alex's food and held it over the trash can. Kendall was so focused on how much they wanted to play with Alex that Kendall did not think about how this action made Alex feel. Kendall said, "Can I throw it away so we can go play now? Besides, you can eat when you get home." Kendall's mom always had a meal ready for them after school, so they assumed Alex would have the same. Alex said, "Fine," and the 2 of them played for the rest of the lunch period. After lunch, Kendall noticed that Alex was much more quiet and had trouble focusing in class. They even had to move their clip down because they did not complete their math worksheet. Kendall wondered what could be happening to their friend since they were usually a very good student. Now, we're going to pause the video to discuss this situation. Think about these questions while you're discussing. What happened and who was hurt? Was Kendall being compassionate, understanding, or accountable to Alex? Why or why not? Have you ever experienced something similar to Kendall or Alex? In what way have you seen Alex's situation take place in real life? How could have Alex changed in response to Kendall to be more compassionate, understanding, and or accountable? What a great discussion in your classroom! As you have all discussed, Kendall's actions and words to Alex could have been handled differently. With compassion, understanding, and accountability, here is how the situation could have looked in another way. Kendall said, "I want to play. Throw your lunch away so we can go play together." Alex responded to Kendall, "I don't want to tell you the details, but I really want to eat this meal. Can we play afterwards?" Kendall thought for a sec and said, "Of course. See you on the playground." When Kendall listened to Alex, they reflected and realized what they needed to be compassionate and understanding of their friend Alex's needs. Kendall realized that not everyone is lucky enough or privileged to have food for every meal. Alex learned that they could trust Kendall to be more understanding and compassionate. In other words, Alex could hold Kendall accountable. The next scenario will involve the conflict between Jada and Taylor, 2 students in a science classroom together. Pay attention to both of their perspectives on the same conflict. Jada wore her hair out in an afro today. Jada usually keeps her hair in braids, so having her hair out for school made her feel beautiful. During Jada's science class, a classmate named Taylor asked, "Is that your real hair?" Jada did not know how to respond. Taylor started to touch and play with Jada's hair for the rest of science class. This made Jada feel very uncomfortable. Jada tried to tell Taylor how she felt. "Can you please stop touching my hair?" asked Jada. "It's making me uncomfortable." Taylor responded, "Sorry, I just really like how it feels. You will look really good if you straighten it one day." Taylor came into her science class today and noticed that her classmate Jada had decided to wear a different hairstyle today. Taylor was very surprised by Jada's new hairstyle and decided to jump in and ask a question. "Is that your real hair?" Taylor did not think before asking this question, and Jada did not respond. Then, Taylor decided to begin touching Jada's hair without asking Jada. Taylor did not think about how their classmate felt. When Jada asked Taylor to stop and said, "Can you please stop touching my hair? It's making me feel uncomfortable." Taylor did not seem to think it was a big deal and said, "Sorry, I just really like how it feels. You will look really good if you straightened it one day." Now, we're going to pause the video again to discuss the situation. Think about the same questions while you are discussing. What happened? And who was hurt? Was Taylor being compassionate, understanding, or accountable to Jada? Why or why not? Have you ever experienced something similar to Jada and Taylor? In what ways have you seen Jada's situation take place in real life? How could have Taylor changed her response to Jada to be more compassionate, understanding, and or accountable? Awesome job chatting in your classroom! As you've all discussed, Taylor's actions and words to Jada could have been handled differently. Taylor commenting on Jada's culture and playing with her hair were called microaggressions. Microaggressions are words or actions that are negative and harmful to Black people, Asian people, Indigenous people. With compassion, understanding, and accountability, here is how the situation would have looked in a different way. "Can you please stop touching my hair?" asked Jada. "It's making me feel uncomfortable." Taylor responded, "I'm sorry, Jada. Your hair is very beautiful, and I did not realize I was making you feel uncomfortable. I will be more respectful by asking you before touching you in the future." Jada felt much better for the rest of the science class because Taylor did not touch her hair anymore. During lunch, Jada and Taylor sat with each other. They laughed, ate pizza together, and learned more about each other. In this example, Jada and Taylor both used I statements to express how they feel. I statements help us explain how we feel or are impacted by a friend's decision that hurt us. That way, they can understand where we are coming from and put themselves in our shoes. By practicing I statements, Jada and Taylor will be able to understand what each other was going through and determine what they needed to do to make things right. To review, here are things to remember next time you have a situation like this. Remember to take accountability for your actions. Own up to your actions and take responsibility, especially when apologizing. Make sure to apologize to the person who is hurt. When you apologize and take accountability, remember to use I statements. I statements are when you talk about your own feelings and thoughts. They often start with the word I, which is why they're called I statements. I statements are important because they help us understand how we're feeling instead of pointing fingers or telling other people how they're feeling. When taking accountability, we should think of a specific action we can take to change our behavior. It's also important to be open-minded. You don't know what anyone else is going through. Listen to what others are telling you how they feel and try to see it from their perspective. Encourage each other to do what is right. These are some questions to think about when you're faced with a situation or conflict. What happened? What were you thinking of at that time? What have you thought about since? Who has been affected by what you have done? In what way? What do you think you need to do to make things right? What has been the hardest thing for you? What is really hard about what is happening for you at this time? That's all for now. Next time you encounter a situation, make sure to use compassion, understanding, and accountability. Be restorative justice heroes.